Hello, my name is Georgia Kaiser, and this is my ClearSight project report presentation. So beginning with the situational analysis section, an overview of ClearSight's customer base consists mostly of patients born before 1980 who are fed up with their current correctional eyewear, such as contacts, glasses, readers, and things like that. Most customers work in fields where they're required to have near perfect vision or safety glasses. According to Kurt, this was mainly oil and gas workers, first responders, military, anybody where they're required to wear safety glasses such as automotive, welding, things of that nature. So moving on to the company, the SWOT analysis really is kind of the breakdown of this section. Some strengths of ClearSight is they have 30 plus years of experience, two thriving locations in Oklahoma City and the Plano/Dallas-Fort Worth area, top of the line technology, as well as top of the line surgeons. Some weaknesses is the low B2B sales. Obviously, we want to increase B2B sales. As of right now, they're mostly B2C, and some minimal differentiating characteristics amongst competitors. This was also something Kurt mentioned that if you call the top LASIK centers and ask why are they all different, you're going to get the same answer of why they're all different. So that's a bit of a weakness. An opportunity is to grow customer base on Meta, so Instagram, and expanding into those Gen Y and Gen Z markets, as well as obviously expanding those B2B sales. Some threats is the barriers that most people have when they're considering LASIK eye surgery, which is the high cost and the fear of it, and as well the low Gen Y and Gen Z acquisition. So moving on to collaborators, ClearSight is mostly a B2B, or excuse me, B2C operation. They have surgeons who provide the best care for their patients and a small amount of co-management relationships with optometrists in Oklahoma City and the DFW areas. I believe growing their B2B operations begins with building up co-management relationships in each area. And by growing these relationships with local optometrists, be easier to expand into other business collaborator relationships, such as athletic teams and universities. So moving into competitors, some major competitors in the Oklahoma City area are Enjoy Vision, TLC Laser Eye Centers, and Dean McGee Eye Institutes. And some competitors in the DFW area are the Key Whitman Eye Center, the Laser Care Eye Center, and the LASIK Vision Institute. So moving into market analysis and strategies. For segmentation, already kind of discussed this a little bit. It's really moving into those B2B, uh, that B2B model, focusing on co-management relationships with optometrists in Oklahoma City and DFW areas. As for segmenting the millennial or Gen Y and Gen Z customers, we need to know what is the overlap between these ages and the most common work fields that come in to get corrective eye surgery. Is there overlap? Where is it and why? And if there's no overlap, why not? So as far as targeting goes, to build off of segmenting, developing specific target market strategies and materials would be dependent on the answers gained from potential surveys. What we do know is obviously it's going to be in the Oklahoma City and DFW areas. It's probably wise to start with newer optometrist office and or younger optometrists. This is due to the fact that they have less establishment in an industry, and so they're more likely to take on new opportunities to grow. As for creating target markets with the generational demographics of millennials and Gen Z, based on the price point, we're most likely looking for customers between the ages of 46 and 22 who work in first responder and or blue collar jobs. They're probably married, have an average household income of above about $60,000 a year. So as far as positioning goes, the factors that play into positioning amongst these target markets are quality of medical staff, quality of the technology/equipment, quality of customer service, and the ease of the process. So moving on to tactical plans of the 4Ps. So ClearSight obviously offers LASIK and lens corrective surgeries, and there are 3 procedures within each category. The first is all laser LASIK. The second option is Smile LASIK. The final laser procedure is ASA or advanced PRK. As for the lens procedures, the first one is EVO ICL. The second lens procedure is custom lens replacement or CRL. The final lens surgery is the custom cataract surgery. So as far as price, due to these procedures being elective surgeries, insurance does not often provide coverage for them. At ClearSight, it's listed that The cost can be anywhere between $1,800 and $8,000 in Oklahoma and Texas per eye. The cost is dependent on the surgery as well as the patient's individual medical needs. Customers can complete their own consultations in a few steps on the ClearSight's website. However, you have to input your name, email, and phone number to receive a quote. This is going to cause, or I believe it will cause, a lot of distrust in millennial and Gen Z customers. Price is one of the major concerns when it comes to LASIK, so being as transparent as possible about the price is really important. Getting the contact information can be extremely helpful for marketing purposes, of course, but this age demographic is so used to subscriptions and really thinly veiled marketing schemes so that the company benefits more than the customer does, when really all they're looking for is a quick, to the point answer to their question. They were raised in the digital age. They have a question, they want an answer right away, instantly. And having to put in your name, your email, your phone number, all these things so that the company can get in contact with you is just it's such a ugh, not this again kind of feeling, and it creates barriers and it creates friction. So as far as place, of course, this report is focusing on markets in Oklahoma City and the DFW area, but it's more likely that the first point of contact is either going to be ClearSight's website or social media pages. So the website is extremely easy to navigate. It's well organized, has other customer reviews front and center. I don't have any suggested improvements for the website. As for social media, just focusing on Instagram specifically, there's two different social media accounts for ClearSight, one for Plano and one for Oklahoma City, which I think is great because each account can be tailored specifically to the area and local demographic. There's also obvious disparity between the two accounts. The Oklahoma City account has 99.95% more followers than the Plano, Texas one does. So the content seems to be relatively similar, but I think using the Oklahoma City account to promote the Plano account could be a good strategy to increase web traffic. Also, Kurt mentioned that Oklahoma City has a relational issue with local optometrists, and that's one of the reasons that ClearSight is having some trouble growing their co-management relationship in that area. So I would suggest with the optometrist that they have, make some videos that increase that positioning pathos rhetoric, and it makes ClearSight more relatable, more comfortable, more transparent to other potential co-management opportunities in that area. I also think adding some videos that are silly and funny and keep up with social media trends could be very beneficial. We've seen this with other companies where they keep up with the silly trends, they maybe sacrifice a little bit of professionalism, and this draws in a lot of customers, especially because fear is such a big inhibitor of this surgery. Adding humor completely helps to soothe that. So I also believe that adding QR integrated marketing could be really helpful. In the brochures that optometrists are given to explain the co-management relationship, having a QR code linked to these videos could just make it extremely easy. Like I said, it's one of those, I have a question, I get a quick answer. And same thing with creating brochures that the optometrist can give to the patients so that they don't have to have a script or anything like that. Having a QR code that leads to a customer tailored video on social media, again, creates humor, creates a more personable image, comfort, things like that. So this is moving more into the lessons learned section. In this project, I have developed a greater understanding of basic marketing principles, especially the 5 Cs and STP. I felt really confident with the 4 Ps that's been drilled into me for a number of years, but 5 Cs was a little bit newer to me, as well as STP I obviously knew about, but I always have trouble distinguishing between segmenting and targeting. So just getting some more practice with that was really great. For my future career, it provides a lot of tangential insight. I am obtaining a marketing degree so that I can run a nonprofit. And the other reason for obtaining my marketing degree is I actually want to act. I'm a double major. My other major is theater arts. But if I'm an actress, I'm my own business. So understanding how to market myself and understanding the business side of it is super important. So the way this ClearSight project plays into that is it allows me to understand how to work my business not only as an owner, but to be my own marketing consultant and to be able to step back and view it from a different perspective. For future students, I encourage them to start as early as possible and slowly develop information. There's a lot of potential information that can go into a project like this, and starting early and building it up slowly is the best way to avoid being overwhelmed. As far as real life value, this project was valuable to me because I really did not feel like I was good at it. I struggled a lot with being overwhelmed and feeling like I was in over my head and not knowing where to start. And I'm such a perfectionist that really bothered me, that I felt like I was not good at this, that I just wasn't very happy with what I was able to produce. And I think that's valuable because in a real life work situation, not every single project is going to be a home run and a hit out of the park. There are going to be projects that flop. And being able to be okay with that and still doing your best and putting in the effort, I did the best that I could. And I think that that provided a lot of real life value for me in a future position. So thank you for watching.